That's County Talk. I'm going to be doing a match review after we have just drawn 2-2 in our last pre-season friendly against Neil Ardley's Solihull Moors. A game which in the first half was looking very dull for Notts. There's definitely a lot for us to learn going forward. I think that game will teach us a lot. We're not the full article, far from it. And I think we're going to grow on into the season, and we're not going to sort of hit the floor running from the start, which it isn't ideal, but I think it can still be good. There's a lot of young players in there that can progress on and get better throughout the season, and there's a few lessons learned I think today, which I will go on to later. But I have to address the elephant in the room, which was Rawlinson's red card. Was it a red card? Never been a red card. I think you're even struggling to say if it was a yellow card, or maybe even if it's a foul. I mean, awful officiating today. Ardley was not happy with the ref that he'd sent our player off because he wanted a fair pre-season 11v11, and you understand that. That's what pre-season's all about. There might be a few clumsy tackles here and there, but you just keep the game flowing, and I felt the ref didn't do that very well today. He missed plenty of things that happened as well. I remember as well, Cal Roberts flicks up the ball, clearly hits their player in the arm. Everyone screams handball, ref doesn't give it. I think there was a few times today where the ref was just showing a very low standard of officiating, which is disappointing. And just giving a red card in pre-season for something that small is just a bit petty. I think a bit jobsworthy, isn't it? But we will go on to the football anyway. That first half was very concerning as far as I was concerned. I was sat watching my TV. I couldn't actually believe what I was seeing. We sort of crumbled a little bit after Rawlinson got sent off. I think it unsettled us a bit, which it's going to, isn't it? I think in a pre-season, you're sort of thinking, why has the ref done that? Your heads might drop a little bit. Doesn't have that sort of like grit and determination that a league game would, but I think it makes you learn. When things like that happen, I think the squad are learning. It's a fairly young squad. You're thinking, Rawlinson and Slocum are the more experienced players in that starting 11. The rest are relatively young players, so I think it's a case of that, to be honest with you. And one key thing from that first half, especially for me, was our centre mids need to be a little bit more daring. Matty Palmer and Ed Francis are quality players. You can see it. I've seen it throughout pre-season. I mean, a lot of fans looking in from the outside might think Notts haven't had a great pre-season, but I don't think we have. I think it's been quite a good pre-season. I think we've learnt a lot. It's not been free-flowing, and we've not scored loads of goals, so we look like the finished article. We've shown our weaknesses so we can address them, and I think it's a good thing. I hope going forward it is a good thing. But yeah, the central midfielders need to be a little bit more daring. Going forward, I think they could maybe stride a little bit further, make that bit more, daring pass to create another chance, or, it's not give a little bit more. It's just have that bottle to dare to do a little bit more for me. So yeah, that's pretty much all I can really say about the first half. Not bags of quality coming out of the Notts end, and it was interesting to see actually how well Solihull actually played, because they weren't the Solihull that we've seen in the last 2 seasons in the National League. They were a very attacking side. They were really in our faces, whereas we're used to seeing quite a, like dog match, where they're sitting right off, they're sitting deep, playing very negative football and looking for the counter-attack goal, where it was the complete opposite today. So interesting. On to the second half then. First 10 to 15 minutes, we were sort of penned in, an hour and a half. I can't really recall getting out of the first half before the 60th minute. We did kind of struggle, I think, but then there was a few substitutions made, and the notable one for me, obviously, Rodriguez comes on and Jim O'Brien comes on. But when Jim O'Brien comes on, it completely changed the game. He came on a little bit later than Rodriguez, because it was Taylor and Rodriguez that came on for Wotton and Chickson. But like I say, as soon as Jim O'Brien came on, the game changed completely. He sort of firmed it up a little bit, and like I said earlier, a player that's come in with a little bit more experience, he's a little bit older, he knows the game a little bit better than the players on the pitch, and he's firmed it up for us. So I think it's going to be crucial, as shown today, and I think throughout our pre-season that we have that little bit of experience throughout the squad, because I don't know what the average age of the squad was today, but it'd have been relatively low, and it'd be interesting to see actually how it compares to other teams in our league, because for me it's going to be low, isn't it, our average age. So I think for me, Jim O'Brien has to start at Barnet. He has to. He's class. Just very direct footballer. He makes those runs with the ball, without the ball, that you want to see a player doing. And he just has that vision for the younger players to sort of give them that sense of direction and stuff like that. So I think he's a very important player, more important than some may think. And then obviously Kyle gets the goal, makes it 2-1. Great goal. You expect nothing less from Kyle. He's had a fairly good game today. And then Dion Kelly-Evans gets taken down in the box and Rodriguez puts away his penalty. It's nice to see, actually. I mean, I know he's not taking bags of penalties for Notts, but he's taken a few now, hasn't he, Rodriguez, and he seems fairly calm on them. So, yeah, it's good to see that, I think, to have that like solid penalty taker. And that, for me, is pretty much all I can take from the game today. Not the most positive pre-season by any stretch of the imagination. Now it's come to an end. We've had weaknesses, but they've been exposed, and we can now work on those weaknesses going forward. So I think, as easy as it can be, because believe me, at half-time in that game, I was thinking, Jesus, we're playing a team that are at the same level as us, and we are struggling. You know, it looked like it could have gone on to be like 4-5-0 if we carried on like that in the second half. But, you know, we changed things and it worked. I think we could have easily won that game. We could have easily dramatically lost that game. So, but that's pre-season, I suppose. But like I say, it's done now, isn't it? Let's hope those mistakes that we've seen throughout the last few games are done. Before I finish on this as well, if you haven't already, you know, mine and Tom's Robin Hood half marathon is looming. It's in about 40 days. It's on the 26th of September. I'll leave the link in the description to the video to donate or even share it. Anything that helps. We're trying to reach the audacious target of £1,000. So anything you can donate or share, you know, me and Tom appreciate it. And yeah, going on into the season now. I might be alone on this one, but I actually feel quite confident. I think we've got some good players, some good qualities. Given that time with Birchnell to work with them, I can see it being a positive season. So yeah, let's see how we get on at Bonnet, and thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe.